See, I've just not been the same since I saw Alien Romulus last night. I still
Oh no, bless you. Well, I'm really looking forward to doing our review on the podcast this week because it was a really good film, wasn't it? Oh my god. Michael, what's happening? What's happening? Michael, what do you need to do, Michael? Tell me what to do. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Hello and welcome back to the Cinematic Trinity, where we talk movies, games and TV shows. And this week we are talking about Alien Romulus, the new film from Fede Alvarez.
I don't know how to pronounce his name, so...
Which is the new Alien film set between the first film and the second one. So we're here to give our review. There's no Kieran this week because he hasn't seen it with us, unfortunately. I do plan to see it with him. He's just been celebrating his birthday, so I think we can let him off.
Oh, the birthday boy,
I know.
Bless him.
Which we celebrated with him. We're not bad friends.
Yes,
it's just
we didn't ignore him.
No.
You know,
I just had to see this with my future mother-in-law, so that's my reason for seeing it without him.
That's your good deed.
Yes, exactly. My community service. So yeah, as always, we're going to do our non-spoiler review, give our score, and then go more in depth with the spoilers, because we've literally seen it today as of the time of recording. So yeah, we're pretty fresh off of it.
Yeah, and I think that we do want to try and do a good chunk of non-spoiler if we can, just because I feel like if you do hear spoilers for this, like, you are really like ruining it, especially towards, obviously endings are often, what gets spoiled, so you obviously don't want that for this film. I think if you can like go in, if you've not watched it yet, go in as blind as you possibly can. I know that there's like a certain structure to these sorts of films and general things that it follows, but I think try not to read up too much.
It's not something you're going to work out immediately from the trailer, kind of thing. Like, if you're thinking, oh, I know what's going to happen, you don't.
You're not.
Kind of thing. But brief plot of the film is it does follow this group of people, as per every Alien film, group of space travelers go to this derelict space station trying to, basically it's like a heist, they're trying to steal some stuff to then get themselves off this planet.
Yeah, they're on like a mining planet, aren't they? It's very harsh conditions, there's no sunlight, there's not really any life for them, they're basically slaves on their own planet, aren't they, for this company. So they see that there's a ship in orbit above that's got hydropods in it, so they think...
Cryopods.
Oh, cryopods, sorry.
Hydro, they're not going to be in water. They're going to freeze themselves.
So they see that they've got these pods and they think, right, this is our ticket out of here. We'll get in these pods, we'll go to another planet, basically.
Yeah, and antics ensue. There's an alien on board, and that's...
Who would have thought it?
Shock
Oh my
horror.
God.
Classic Alien story.
Classic Alien having aliens in it.
Exactly. And immediately... I enjoyed it. It was a good film.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it as well. I think that I came out of the cinema saying that this is one of the best films that I've seen this year. And just as a bit of a disclaimer, like it's a good running joke, isn't it, that I'm not a big fan of the original Alien films and this sort of franchise that is, Alien and Aliens and Alien v Predator and Prometheus and whatever. I'm not a massive fan of those films.
Well, you're not a massive fan either, so yeah.
So I'm not a massive fan of those films, but I really, really enjoyed this. I think it was just so tense. I think it really did well on the tension and the build-up, and the payoff for everything was really good. Like, everything that was happening, we were saying it made a lot of sense. Like, everything that happened, it wasn't like, oh, let's just make this happen because we're crazy and or like just doing things for the sake of things. It felt like that was just the natural progression of where it should go. And I just think there was a lot of, characters in it, but it wasn't like too heavily focused on the characters. They could have very easily done like, oh, let's do, love interest between these two characters, or, and there was nice dynamics between chemistry between them, but it wasn't like too much. It's like I just want to see, the aliens, and
everyone is basically just cannon fodder. Like, hardly anyone's going to make it, so everyone's got like their unique enough personality, you know, who's the annoying person.
Yeah, it's enough for you to care about them, but not enough for it to take over the film, you know, I think. And I really liked, you know, sort of the main two, I guess, of the woman who we learned after the film was Priscilla from last year. Earlier this year, quite at the beginning of the year, wasn't it? And she was really good in Priscilla, and she was really good in this as well.
As Rain, the main like female character,
and then the guy,
Andy, the android, Andy the
android, Although isn't that spoiler technically? I feel
no, you know from the trailer he's a robot.
Do you actually?
Yeah.
Because when we've been watching reviews, everybody's been referring to him as his brother.
Yeah, no, they are. They're like, he is her brother, but he is an android. And you know that from the trailer. He's got, like, robot eyes and stuff like that. So that's not a spoiler.
Oh, right, okay. It's just because everybody's been, like, tiptoeing around that.
No, there's another thing. There's another thing. People have been tiptoeing around, which we'll get into in the spoilers. But yeah, not him. Everyone knows he's a robot.
Right, okay. That's fine. So yes, he's a robot. He's an android. But I thought he was
He's brilliant, yeah.
He was absolutely brilliant in this. Like, I think all the... You know, I think it's probably really easy to be like, oh, I am an android. You know, not that people do that.
You really have not watched an Alien movie, because that is not what they're like.
I know, but you know what I mean. Like, it's probably very easy. It's easy to get wrong, I think, to play something like that, because it's not just, you know, standard, and like he starts off and he's not really got a lot for him. You know, he's kind of like, you know, you feel that he's going to get left behind and stuff like that, and people are a bit horrible to him.
Not to go like in depth, but I mean, to be fair, when it first happened, like when you first see him, he's a malfunctioning android kind of thing. Like he's in
old,
the best state of repair. So you kind of like the way he's acting, he's very like awkward and stuff like that. So you're like, I was kind of there thinking, oh, please don't let this be what he's like for the whole film. But it does evolve, which we'll get into. But it does evolve, in his like performance when that happens is really, really good. Like he plays both sides really well.
Definitely.
And then I think performances are all good across the board. My main thing is I just love the look of the movie. Like just the visuals, just everything looks so good.
Yeah, it does like, especially look really good.
It's the same like why I love Alien Isolation, which this movie is quite inspired by. Like the horror game, like just the look of it, all the technology is really old. All of it just looks so much like the old films, which is just really nice to see. All the sets look so practical, the spaceship interiors look awesome. I love the planet, like from the trailers and stuff, when you see like the mining planet they're on, like just the storms and stuff like that, and like the big like architecture just looks so nice. So I think
it's a very visually pleasing film.
Really is. Like like the CGI blends well here, like the planets and stuff. Like obviously it wouldn't been what you saw in the old films because like 70s, 80s, but like it's updated and it just looks nice. There is some CGI which looks weird, which we'll get into, but planets, environments, aliens all look very, very good.
Yeah, particularly the aliens and the face huggers and everything like that. Like they are, a lot of it is practical, apparently, isn't it? Obviously blended with some visual effects, but it's fantastic. Really, really good. I think they've really done it justice. I think.
Definitely.
I mean, again, not that I'm like major on the source material, but I, respect that it's,
I think it's
classic,
it's a common consensus that there is a lot of love poured into it. Like you can tell Fede Alvarez really knows his stuff. Like he can make a film that looks like an Alien film, and that he did a very good job. So looks are good, acting's good, story again, there are good peaks and like troughs of like being like ramped up action and then calm. The opening, which we did say kind of went on for like a bit long, because you know what you're getting into.
I didn't really feel that though. Like I didn't think
probably it might be again like coming from not really liking not liking or like watching the Alien films. Like you know what you're getting onto is like it'll always be they'll go to this space station or this planet, they'll explore for a bit, something's not right here, and then the aliens pop up. But like this, especially like the trailers really focused on that. Like it's kind of like they're going to go there, they're going to find some face huggers, and it's all going to kick off. So you kind of just you're waiting for that to happen. But you're kind of like, whew. But then when it does happen,
I think it's
non-stop.
worth it. I feel like a lot of the things, whether it be film or TV shows, the endings have been really, really disappointing recently. Like they've not been able to get it together towards the end of the film, or things have been rushed or stuff like that. Right. But I think the payoff is so good, and the build, like, it makes it worth the wait. Like, even like looking back on it, like, I didn't really feel like that when I was watching it. I didn't think, oh, this is going on a bit long. But I did like
the only time I wanted
off.
to check my watch, and it's nothing to do with like, God, this film's boring. It was more like they were doing the classic Alien thing of like, oh, T minus 60 minutes until, and I was just like, is it actually 60 minutes
well,
until it
apparently
happens?
when they say 30 minutes,
right,
it is then 30 minutes until
like the end of the film kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Until the 30-minute time.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually 30 minutes. So I do love that. It's like when I always say, like, if there's a clock on the TV, I love it when it's the same time as what the real time is that we're watching it. But that's just one of my weird quirks.
No, I get you. And so, stuff like that was good. And I think my only, like, gripes is, again, that opening maybe could have been shorter. Otherwise, it was fine. Like, again, introducing these characters, all the visuals, stuff like that looked really nice. And then my only thing, just as a fan of these movies, is just kind of the fan servicey stuff they did. Because they do work in lines from the previous movies. There will be like remember this or remember this. Like, it is built quite a bit off that, and there is a massive one which, again, we'll get into, which didn't necessarily hit the mark for me. But just stuff like that, it gets to a point sometimes, because other bits I liked, like stuff like that. There was like the save station from like Alien Isolation, like that.
Yes.
The fact they put that in, it was really cool.
Yeah.
All the computer stuff, like I liked those references, seeing like pictures of the old Alien characters was cool. But if it's like a line of dialogue or like story beats from previous films, I'm just a bit like, I've seen this before.
I think particularly because, even though this like doesn't matter, but in a way it does, because it's not like, oh, it's 100 years later, or it's set before, it's literally between those two films. So if they're making references to those films, like, and this literally doesn't matter, but it's like, if this was real life, you've got two characters saying completely the same lines within 20 years of each other within a very similar context. Like, that, do you know what I mean? Like, in real life, like, life doesn't work like that. Like, people have different reactions to things.
Exactly,
But that's like looking way too much into it. But all of the references, again, because I'm not like a massive Alien fan, I mean, I maybe sort of understood like the big ones, but a lot of the references and stuff like that, like, I understood all like the sets and stuff. I have seen the films. It's not like I've never watched them.
You just haven't like rewatched.
I've just not like, oh my god, I love it. So they didn't strike any sort of chord with me. I just took them at face value. So therefore, I got a lot of enjoyment out of it. So I think if you are somebody who's not really bothered about the other films but still wants a good film to watch,
right, I
definitely think you can still watch this even if you're not as booked. That's exactly what I am. I'm not really bothered, but I really enjoyed this. So which is nice.
Exactly.
It was good to enjoy something.
Yeah, it was good. Like, I'm glad that it was a good Alien film. Like, I'm not saying I even hate some of the Alien films. Like, as a series, I like the films. They have their own things. I want to rewatch them now as like a result of watching this movie.
Yeah.
Because to be fair, me and my future mother-in-law, we did go to like a double bill of Alien and Aliens, and that was like a really good cinema experience. So it's like, oh yeah, I'd love to rewatch the Alien films. I've literally hung up a Alien poster on my wall because I was like, you know what? I'll do that. And then I was like, I really want to play Alien Isolation again. So it's really just
and
like...
your favourite Alien, Colonial Marines.
Yeah, Colonial Marines.
There was a reference to that?
Well, there kind of is, yeah. I mean, they got like pulse rifles and stuff, which again, that's like in the trailer.
Is that from the game, or is that from somewhere else as well?
It's like it's the same kind of weapon. They'll be like, oh my god, this is a pulse rifle. So you're like, oh, like the Colonial Marines, like there's that kind of thing. So it's really, I'd love to I mean, you kind of said as well, you wouldn't mind watching them as well, like the Alien films.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I should,
They are like good bits, especially like the first two are key cinema. Like they're some of the best.
Well, I know,
films.
I know that they are. They're the inspiration, aren't they, for all the other films that have sort of come since then. Like, these films are definitely the inspiration, so I definitely understand that. But I just have to say, like, seeing it in the cinema as well, and we weren't in a particularly big cinema. Like, at our local cinema, there's quite a small screen, only like a few rows. And even then, like, it was so great watching it in the cinema, and particularly all like the sound design. Like, I just love those big, like, space noises of like
the
spaceships taking
yeah.
off, or if there's a big door that's closing, or when it's like all of a sudden really quiet and then you just hear like or something like that. Like I love all of that stuff. Like it really, like I just love it.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of this in this film. There was some really like deep
booming
sounds of everything going on, and I really, really enjoyed that. So definitely want to see in the cinema as well. And I was saying because I mean it's a little bit slow to start with. I mean I wasn't particularly bothered, but I know and I said this in the car on the way home, I know for a fact if I was at home watching this on Netflix or Disney Plus or whatever it's going to come to when it eventually comes out. Well, it was supposed to be Hulu, wasn't it?
That's what, yeah.
It was supposed to be
Hulu
like
original,
which essentially would have been on Disney Plus. So I'm so glad that we got to see it at the cinema. But I would have had my phone out and I would have been looking at that, which meant that I wouldn't have been paying as much attention. So when all the payoff was happening, I probably wouldn't have got as much like as much enjoyment out of it. So definitely just really watch it, and just enjoy it and take it all in, because it all means something towards the end, and the ending is just so
we'll get into
insane.
it. Yeah. To bring up the review scale, because I feel like we should get into spoilers now. What would you on our scale, where would you put this one?
Well, I really liked it. I want to say masterpiece. I'm not too sure, but it's definitely like go and watch it. I don't know whether it is masterpiece, but I also really liked it. I probably would I really, really enjoyed it. So maybe I would say it's masterpiece. Feels like quite a big title, but I did really, really enjoy it. I think and it was just so surprising, and as I say, all the tension in it, but and the horror of it, but it was still enjoyable. It wasn't like some horror things where you're just this is awful, I can't watch it. Although I did have to cover my eyes for some bits, but it was an enjoyable experience. So maybe I will say masterpiece. I think because I give it a 9 or a 10 out of 10. I'd say this is 10 out of 10 film for me.
To be fair, you're not viewing it through the lens of an Alien
exactly.
fan, are you?
Yeah,
it's just
I'm kind of just watching it as a standalone film. As a standalone film, it is a very, very good film.
And it could be like you watch the Alien movies and you're kind of like, oh, now I've watched these ones. That does dampen this episode slightly. I mean, for me, it's a go watch it. So it's probably it's an 8 to maybe a 9. I mean, a rewatch would definitely be worth it just to cement my opinion on it.
Yeah.
But it is good. Loads of things work about this. Again, we'll get into some points which didn't hit the mark for me. But yeah, go watch this movie in the cinema while you can. Or, when it comes out on Blu-ray, get a good sound bar. Because, I think it's something to be...
the sound and everything. Yeah.
It's something to be behold,
Something to behold.
Beholden? Beholden, that's a phrase. So, that's our reviews for it. Anyway, our scores. But I think let's get into some spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
Spoilers ahead.
Do you want to
go to the elephant in the room, which I've been alluding to, sprinkling breadcrumbs about?
Oh, what's he going to say? Oh, I'm on the edge of my seat.
Ian Holm is back in this movie. So Ash from the first Alien. It's not the same character. He's another android called Rook. But Ian Holm has passed away. I don't know how long he's been dead for, but they have brought him back to life using CGI. So they find a torso of a robot on the ship, and to be fair, I saw the haircut, saw the uniform. I knew there was something about Ian Holm from just minor spoilers I saw on TikTok, so I was kind of like, oh, what's going on here? And then they reboot him, and then it is full on deep fake CGI face. They brought him back to life, which I don't think that CGI looked good.
No, it
at
didn't.
All.
It was the only thing, and it's such a shame but it is really difficult to do, isn't it?
I just don't.
They maybe should have left it, but do you know what? For a lot of the film, actually, it's kind of half and half. The bits where you're looking at him through almost the lens of the actual camera, the film camera in the room. You're in with the room with him. The CGI looks awful, and it is such a shame. but there's also a lot of bits where they're filming like a monitor, like an old computer monitor, because that's just the technology of the time.
Yeah.
That looks fine. If it was kind of like that for the whole film, like you only see him through this monitor, they would have got away with the CGI, because obviously there's a big filter of it needs to look rubbish anyway. But when you're actually in the room with him, and you know you're supposed to be in the room with him through the lens of the camera, then it's not very good. But it's the only part of it. So
I thought either they could have done a more practical thing. I'm not saying get like a look-alike. You could have just done it be a different android, because like the whole thing is like there is like a thing in Alien where like the androids do have like their primary directive. In like the first Alien, it is everyone's expendable, get the alien back to Weyland-Yutani, which is basically what Rook impasses onto Andy, is like, you know, you need to get these samples off this spaceship. But yeah, bringing, like, I can respect it, bringing him back, but whether they could have done, like, he was, like, a computer virus, and that's when you see him on the monitors, and, like, that's his existence kind of thing. Like, maybe they reboot the ship, and it's like, oh, he actually transferred his consciousness to the ship or whatever. Rather than him be... Because he's in the film, not a lot, but he does keep cropping up to be like, why are we still stuck with deep fake, you know, CGI, you know.
I don't think they needed to, because again, I didn't get the reference. Like, I knew that it was bad CGI, but I was like, I don't understand why like what the context is. Like, why is it not just a person? But I feel like they could have very easily. I wonder if that was something where they were just going to have it just be somebody, but
I doubt
maybe
it. I think
heads of
I think because of how much they do reference the old films, and it makes complete sense. He was an android, like, you know, robots get reused. Makes complete sense why they would bring this guy back. And it's, you know, also there for the audience to be like, oh my god, it's Ash, like, what's he doing here? But it's not actually him. Makes complete sense. But yeah, just the way they executed it just did not work. If it could have been like, because we watched a review which made, I mean, I remember thinking it at the time, they could have done like, it was just a practical mannequin or whatever, like half destroyed, and just the face gets mangled, so it looks like Ian Holm, but it's not CGI. It's just like a practical animatronic, like, oh my god, I'm a busted up android, you know, but it looks, you know who it is. But just the way they did it, I that's my only like big gripe from like the story, is like why they brought him back in that way, because like they did it in the video game. Like, I mean, Ian Holm was alive at the time, but they used like his likeness because they did a DLC based on the first Alien movie, so he's there. It's like an impressionist guy doing his voice. Thankfully for this, it's not AI. They took his voice and mimicked it. It is someone doing an impression of Ian Holm, which I can respect that. So yeah, I think that I've gone on about this for ages, but that is literally that just it didn't sit right with me.
I think, and he is a big part of the film, and he's a very important part of the film. So it's not like, you know, at the end of Rogue One where you see Princess Leia and she's on screen for 2 seconds, CGI rubbish, but it's just like, way, and then she's gone. This is very much he is a character,
and like Carrie Fisher was alive when that happened.
Oh yeah, she was. I forgot. And there was also somebody else as well, but he had passed away, hadn't he?
Grand Moff Tarkin, but I can't. Peter Cushing, I think that's his name.
No, I'm saying as if I know, but
but that it's just the uncanny valley stuff. Like, it just look weird. But moving on to the actual, but yeah, it's like that weird uncanny valley thing. So, but to move on to the actual rest of the story. What sort of happens at the very beginning is they go to where the Nostromo, the spaceship from the first movie, blew up. They take like a comet on board, and lo and behold, the original alien from that movie is stowed away, and that's why like the Romulus outbreak happens. Like the alien gets out, and you know that's why there's facehuggers. That's why there's stuff like that on the ship. Our group of heroes go there to steal some cryopods so they can reach this other planet that they're looking to go to. And then, you know, they stumble across the facehuggers. There's that bit in, like, the water room, which, again, like, the facehuggers are very cool, like, in this movie. Like,
they are. They're a threat.
Yeah, and they're a good mixture between practical and real. Like, you know, when there's, like, a whole group of them in the vents or, like, chasing after them, that's scary. Like, you know, that's cool. And then, you know, it is like your general alien stuff. Like, they stumble across this, one of them gets infected, has a chest burster. That's the bit from the trailer where she puts like the X-ray
is
thing.
Incredibly cool. You know, and I think, and what happens is she gets attacked by this face hugger, and they're all kind of like, what do we do? They're trying to save her, and that's when the robot Andy comes in, and he's like, he now because he's been given a new directive by Rook.
Yeah.
He understands what happened previously.
Well, no, that's the thing though. He doesn't. He gets like basically they give him like a memory chip so he has security clearance, but he's like, look, I've got this chip, but I don't know what this facehugger thing is.
Yeah, but he's cleverer.
Yeah, no, he's that's what. Yeah,
he's cleverer because he's like, you know, well, from looking at it, this thing is matching her breathing, so it's giving her oxygen. She's still alive, but we don't quite understand
I don't know what
why.
it's doing to her, kind of
but
thing.
We need to, you know, there's no point in trying to save her or rip it off or anything. So that he has a bit of a good scene there. But they managed to get it off her face by using some of the cryo
spray. It's just like
like what's it called?
It's like a freeze gun, isn't it? They use like a liquid nitrogen tank.
Yeah, it's almost like that, which is really cool. And then they, you know, so they get it off her, and then they're not sure whether it's actually left, whether it's implanted the egg or whatever or not. But Andy, the robot, he's trying to kill her basically because his directive is now, you know, to save the company rather than to save Rain. So he's trying to kill her. He's trying to run after her. And then one of the other guys who already doesn't like synthetics, as he calls them, he, you know, basically locks themselves in the other part of the ship,
like the ship they came on, isn't it?
The ship they came on, which is now docked into the big ship. And that's when she starts to, you know, get this fit. And it is so cool because she's got this X-ray gun. And obviously that's in the trailer. And she puts it behind her and you can see through her chest and see this thing bashed out of her chest. And, oh my God, what a scene. It was incredible.
So that happens, like, you know, the chest burster happens, then the ship crashes inside the other side of like the space station. So then that's like...
because they're trying to get away, aren't they?
Because then that's like Group A's objective, which is Rain... I can't remember the guy's name, but like Rain, this guy, and Andy, the android, they now need to get to where the ship crashed. But obviously Andy's got like his own prerogative. He needs to get these samples, which we'll get into in a sec, off the ship, which is also in the same direction.
And what that then causes is when the ship crash lands again onto the sort of the main onto the Romulus, it creates this like this breach, doesn't it? Which pushes it slightly off course, so it's now heading for like the ring around the planet with like meteors and stuff. It's now heading for that, so that's where the 40-minute countdown comes into it. So there's just an extra level of something, you know. There's an extra level of, right, we're on a time limit now, you know, so we've still got to do this even quicker than we had to before, which I think is nice, you know, to have just like that extra layer of...
It's stakes, isn't it? Again, it's your classic Alien thing. Like, this is going to happen. Like, you know, it's the T-2 minimum safe distance thing from like Aliens or stuff like that. There's always like a countdown, or like the ship's going to self-destruct, like that kind of thing. So they go to, like, you know, get a good sequence actually where the ship's crashed. One of the main characters comes out of the ship and then finds like the cocoon where the alien is. Like, that's cool. And then like the annoying British man gets killed and like acid gets sprayed on him. So that's really cool.
Yeah, that is really cool.
And then like the alien like hatches from it. So again, that's really cool, like practical stuff. Like
really
what you're
nice. Yeah, really nice practical, really nice shots of the alien and like really nice sound design as well. I love the music that's playing over it.
And there's some good like shots of her like running away, and it'll be like you'll land on the platform above her so you can like see it through the grates, and then it's like there in the background kind of thing, like stalking her, so you're like, oh, this is good stuff. They all come to the door, so it's kind of like, you know, we'll let her in and save her kind of thing, but Andy's like, no, not opening the door because that jeopardizes the mission. That's what the alien literally wants, us to come inside the space station.
Waiting.
So he lets her kill this woman, like take her away, to, you know, kidnaps her basically. So then everyone's, because that's like what we mentioned earlier about like Andy's whole thing, like when I said he was at the beginning of the movie, he's malfunctioning because he gets this like new chip installed. He like has a personality change, so he is smarter, he's like speaks more, like he's just really good. Like that change the actor does is really good, and like you still believe him.
It's fantastic because he's essentially playing two characters, isn't he?
And it's like that
with two different motivations.
And there's like a almost something that alludes to it earlier where when they're explaining why that guy hates synthetics, it's because they're logical based, and he basically like did a whole saving, like killing a few people to save the many
Yeah.
situation, which is what like Andy is doing by his new like objective. It's no longer
Yeah.
do what's best for Rain, it's do what's best for Weyland-Yutani.
Yeah.
So they like split off. I mean, there is a sequence beforehand which, you know, it's very, I suppose it's very brief. It's like a room where they need to sneak through like some face huggers, and they do like explain, that's probably what you mean by there's some good explanation. It's like, we need to get through this room, but we need to increase the temperature in the room because face huggers hunt by body temperature. So if it matches it, as long as we go in, keep our
And
cool,
sound as well.
yeah, keep our cool, be quiet, don't like get goosebumps, which I thought it's very funny that they outline that, and then literally like when that woman's like, "Oh, come save me from this room," the guy gets like goosebumps.
Yeah.
So that's a very good sequence. They venture further into the ship, find the alien nest. They hear the woman who got kidnapped earlier. Matey goes to save them. Andy's kind of like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. He gets killed, but they do get the woman out of the cocoon, and then like Rain takes her to the elevator, sends her up to the ship, and then they have like a good action sequence where Rain has her pulse rifle. She goes back to save Andy because basically he like malfunctions, so she's like, right, this is my chance to get the chip that turned him like. Before that, cuckoo.
Are we not going to talk about the acid?
That's the bit that follows. Yeah, so she saves.
No, well, this is. Well, he's still clever when it's the acid.
No, he's dumb. Yeah. Well, he's dumb. She takes the chip out, and they're like, right, I'm going to get you out of here now, Andy. And then there's like a bunch of aliens following them. But she's like,
loads.
And then Rook, Ian Holm, has locked them out of the ship. Like, they can't go back up the elevator because he's like, look, you've served your purpose. You've got the samples to the spaceship upstairs.
Yeah.
You can die now. So she's like, oh no. And then Andy tells a joke because that's like his basic side, is he knows like dad jokes. So he tells one about zero gravity. And that's
what was the joke?
I read a book about zero gravity. I couldn't put it down.
Yeah.
Which, light bulb moment. She's like, right, I'll just turn the gravity off and then
because
we'll
earlier
fly.
on, because obviously with the aliens they have acid blood, and Andy had literally said earlier, when you've got this gun, don't actually shoot them. This is just the threat of it, because if you shoot them, that acid is just going to melt straight out of the bottom of the ship. There's nowhere to go. You're just going to create a vacuum.
Yeah.
So that's why she can't just shoot them all. It creates reasons, which again is nice that there's like an explanation. There's a reason for everything happening. It's not just happening for the sake of it. Like, I'm sure that at points, that's how films work, and things just happen, but it feels really like real. So that's why it's so good, because then they say, right, we'll turn the gravity off. But then we'd also learn earlier in the film that when you're on zero gravity, like every, I don't know how minutes or so, there's a purge where the gravity comes back on for a brief second or 30 seconds and then goes back off again. So then there's the countdown to the gravity purge, and they're floating through all this acid, obviously trying to dodge it.
Well, she like kills a bunch of aliens. The acid's there floating in the air, so she has to like, sort of traverse herself through, like fly through and stuff like that. And she does like a cool move where there's like literally a whole bunch in front of her, so she like shoots her gun, so she gets like propelled downwards. They go up like a big elevator shaft, comes back on again. Andy saves Rain. He does the line, "Get away from her, you bitch," which that was one where I was a bit like,
you didn't like that, but again, I didn't have like, I feel like I have heard it obviously from watching the films and I kind of know about it, but I didn't like
you found it funny, didn't you?
I found it funny because the fact that he's an android, he was like hesitating before saying the word bitch, which just made it funny. So at least it's like a little bit
people
more
will enjoy that
lighthearted.
line, I'm sure.
They'll enjoy that. I mean, I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So then you get your classic alien, like they make it back to the ship now, Andy and Rain. So they're on the ship with this other lady. Basically home stretch, they'll go back home now, and then everyone's going to cryo sleep and stuff, like Andy's getting ready to shut down or like a reset kind of thing, and then lo and behold, this is where the movie just takes a sharp turn to just being absolutely mental,
but brilliant, not bad,
because actually the film, these like things I've mentioned before, like the stuff they're trying to get off the ship, ties back to Prometheus, because like Prometheus has this whole thing with black goo, which is like a bioweapon, like it turns stuff, it like mutates people and like objects and stuff. So that's like a whole thing. So to be fair, the fact that they tied it into this film, I was a bit like, whoa, like hats off to you, like for acknowledging like Prometheus here, because Weyland-Yutani, like, on this ship from, like, the facehuggers and the aliens extracted, like, the black goo to then, like, make humanity better, like your classic thing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. It actually mutates things. So the pregnant lady, like, she obviously got injured by the alien.
We learned that she's pregnant.
Yes, yeah,
way earlier on in the film.
Yeah.
She's ill.
Yeah, so,
and that's
Yeah, so she got kidnapped by the alien. She was, very damaged. So she, like, takes it
with the
basically.
black goo.
Yeah. So when they're putting her to sleep, she goes into the cryosleep, and then suddenly the other woman's getting ready to put herself into it, and then suddenly vital signs fluctuating, looks in there, and then the pregnant lady is heavily pregnant and gives birth to a little egg,
essentially.
and
it's the most horrendous scene ever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's brilliant but awful all at the same time. Like, it's one of those things where I was literally like this the whole time because I couldn't not look, but at the same time I wanted to look away. It was hideous.
Okay, I think I said to you, that's like the one, again, like TikTok spoilers, was basically Ian Holm coming back, and I didn't know much about it, but just said, oh yeah, pregnant lady, like, has an alien. So I was just I was like, oh right, like a chest burster in her stomach, because aliens done that before. But no, it's just like she gives birth to this egg, it like melts through the floor, basically.
It's all full of acid, isn't it?
And then it opens up and there's like a little human baby head.
Because she's the other woman is going to try and kill it, isn't she? But then she sees it's like a human head.
Well, no, I think it's like acid, so it like slips through her hands and then like melts through the floor.
But she also does see the fact that it's human.
So like drops down to the cargo
basically.
bay. She sees it's human, and then goes down to like kill it basically with the liquid nitrogen.
Yeah.
And it's like gone away. You see like the footsteps and stuff. You're like,
you can see you can I don't know whether this was just me like reading it wrong, but it looked like its footsteps were getting bigger.
Well, so that is
yeah.
That's like a
because
thing
it's growing.
Yeah. No, because that's like the alien thing.
Is that
they
what
do
happens?
Rapidly grow.
Yeah. Do they do that in Alien?
Yeah. It's like the whole when they find
all the good bits. So you're just saying, actually, these are all in Alien, so why don't you like these films?
Well, it's like they'll find like it sheds its skin and stuff like that. So whether because it's like a human hybrid, it's like different, like it grows faster. So then Andy goes to check on the pregnant lady, obviously all this stuff's happened, and it's just one of those shots where it like cuts to the hallway, and then there's just this thing, and you're just like, what the?
It is.
You're like, what the hell is this? And so it's like the fully grown alien human hybrid thing,
and it's got holes in its back, and you can see its spine, and it almost looks like
the
it's
tail and stuff.
Its tail is literally growing as it stood there, and oh god, it's just the most disgusting thing. But again, it's brilliant. It's incredible.
And like, for people who've watched like Prometheus, it's got like the face of like the engineers from like that movie, so like the just black eyes, like just the sort of big nose, stuff like that. So that's like the final threat and like, you didn't get away moment that Alien's like famous for. So it's basically just like Rain trying to get this thing off the ship, because it's like sort of taken Andy out. It's not killed him, but it's like, slashed his neck, so he's just lying there like bleeding out. Pregnant lady's dead, gets killed by it.
It kind of like crawls up to her, and you can see it's got like talons almost on the end of its elbows and like really long arms like this, and it's crawling over to her, and
it's got like the mouth within a mouth thing
it's
as well.
Still got that. Oh, God,
so then Rain goes to like basically disengage the cargo bay to then like send it onto the planet and kill it. Like there's a final little scuffle. Like that's the thing as well, like she kind of like she's got this rope, so she's like dangling, and you think it's over, and then it like jumps onto her, and it's like
it's a jump scare, isn't it? It's awful, and like the shot of it's like it just looks so
it's like its mouth is trying to
scary. It's properly scary.
So the mouth's like cracking her helmet, stuff like that. And then she manages to flip the switch, and then the cargo bay goes, it like falls to its death. It's over, and then it's cuts to the classic Alien thing of she goes into her pod, and it's the whole this is Rain signing off, end of film, roll credits kind of thing. So just literally
but
that.
I don't know,
20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
it is insane. It's carnage.
To be fair, like in the cinema, I wanted to just scream out, "This is the most batshit thing I've ever seen."
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's where even if you like, if you have gripes with the rest of the film and stuff like that, just that last 10 minutes, like, stick with it.
It is probably the only bit that made me feel a bit like. To be fair, if they did like a Alien isolation game and that was the thing that was chasing you, I would be terrified.
It kind of almost like reminded me of a lot of like the horror in games.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I feel like game horror is very different and it's really like ramped up. I don't know whether it's because of like, you know,
the immersion, isn't it?
yeah, but it really reminded me of that, and
Yeah.
like the design of it, like it looks like
Well, it's like you can't look away,
game
can
designers
you?
are designing it. Do you know
Yeah,
what? I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
know
yeah.
what the difference
No,
like
no,
in
no.
my mind. Like they're a lot more imaginative, I think, in game
I think
design and creature design than they are in films.
I'd probably just say because it is something new. It's not just a xenomorph. It is something they've never done before, like in the series. So, like, fair enough to this movie. It's something you've never seen before.
Yeah, but it's a great way to bring it in. Again, it's not just it makes sense because she was already pregnant and we already learnt that, and then she injects herself, so it makes sense that it's half human, half
and it's like
alien.
And again, if you've watched like Prometheus, you know
links back into that as well.
You know what the black goo
so
does
they've included
to people.
a lot this, and done it very well. As by sounds of
so
it.
just like absolutely mental, and like I think like brings the film to a good close. So there's there's a few choices here which again like probably could have been executed better, but as a whole still very enjoyable. Like you know, the story that's here is good, and I'm looking forward to watching that climax with like Kieran and like Isaac and stuff like that.
I would love to just I'd love to
just,
go with you.
I know, I'll just be there
just
like
be
doing the classic doing the classic like
I feel like Isaac's gonna absolutely wet himself. He's gonna love it because he loves stuff like that. Doesn't he? He's gonna love it.
No, so I'm really looking forward to that. See, I think I'll definitely try and watch it again.
Yeah, I'd quite like to watch it again. To be fair, just to see. I'd like to actually be able to look at the creature. Now I know what it looks like, and I'm not like terrified.
See, now I've typed in.
I want to watch it.
Yeah, to now we've watched it, and I've gone on TikTok and typed in Alien Romulus. All I get is here's the mutant, hybrid clips. I'm just like, there you go.
Yeah.
Good thing I didn't search this up before.
Definitely, I know what you're like.
Yeah, I think honestly, go watch the movie.
Definitely
go buy on Blu-ray. Go
see it in the cinema.
Yeah, go watch the other Alien movies. Go do this. Put an Alien poster on your wall. Go play Alien Isolation. Do all these bits because Alien is just one of my favorite franchises like of all time.
Bless you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry for having. But I think honestly, go watch it. Like just from that. Discussing that plot there was just that fun. I was just waiting to talk about that final
you could forget about the rest of the film and just talk about that last 20 minutes, and it's just brilliant.
But a lot of things work in this movie. There are some bits that don't. I mean, it's up to you. Like again, if you're a massive Alien fan, if you're a casual person, you'll make your own minds up seeing this movie.
But it's for everybody, like
for all ages.
Not all ages, but for all adults, I think. Yeah, it's got something for everybody in there. Even if you're not bothered about the franchise, so it's still worth it.
Exactly. Go watch Alien Romulus. Obviously, just go watch it. Honestly, just go watch it.
Yeah.
But that has been it for this episode of the Cinematic Trinity. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and we will see you in the next one. But in the meantime, I've been Michael.
And I've been Tulip.